take a gentle breath and allow your thoughts to slow down. This message arrives without force and without pressure, because what is meant for you does not need to rush or shout to be real. Today carries a quiet shift, not loud or dramatic, but steady and meaningful. It is the kind of turning point that begins inside the heart before it ever shows itself in the outer world. You may not notice fireworks or sudden signs, yet something subtle is aligning, inviting you to look at your life with softer eyes and renewed trust. An angel's message often comes like this: calm, patient, and grounded in truth. It reminds you that growth does not always come through struggle. Sometimes it comes through awareness. Today asks you to notice what you have been carrying silently, the lessons you have already learned, and the strength that has been forming within you over time. Nothing you have walked through has been wasted. Every experience has shaped your perspective and prepared you for the next season unfolding now. This turning point is connected to gratitude, not because gratitude ignores challenges, but because it changes how you meet them. When you acknowledge what has supported you so far, small moments of peace, unexpected help, inner resilience, you create space for more clarity to enter. Gratitude steadies the mind and softens the heart, allowing wisdom to rise naturally. It helps you recognize opportunities that may have been present all along, waiting for you to be ready to see them. Growth today does not demand perfection. It asks for honesty and willingness. You are not required to have everything figured out. You are only invited to stay open. Open to learning from your experiences instead of judging them. Open to trusting your instincts instead of doubting them. Open to the idea that progress can be gentle and still be powerful. Growth often happens quietly, like roots strengthening beneath the soil before anything visible appears. Positive. Opportunities do not always arrive as obvious gifts. Sometimes they show up as choices, moments of reflection, or subtle changes in direction. You may feel drawn to simplify something in your life, to release an old habit of thinking, or to give more attention to what truly matters to you. These nudges are not random. They are signs of alignment, guiding you toward what supports your well-being and long-term peace. Today's energy encourages you to move forward with balance. Not pushing, not holding back, but walking steadily with awareness. Trust that clarity will come step by step. You do not need to compare your path with anyone else's. Your journey is unfolding in its own timing, shaped by your values, your experiences, and your inner wisdom. Staying present allows you to recognize what feels right and what no longer needs your energy. An angel's guidance is never about pressure. It is about reassurance. You are supported as you grow. You are allowed to pause and reflect. You are encouraged to choose what nourishes your spirit and strengthens your sense of purpose. When you focus on calm intention rather than fear or urgency, your decisions become clearer and more aligned with who you truly are. Let today be a reminder that turning points can be peaceful. They can begin with a shift in mindset, a moment of appreciation, or a renewed commitment to personal growth. By staying open to gratitude, you invite clarity. By embracing growth, you allow transformation. By recognizing positive opportunities, you align with progress that feels steady and meaningful. Carry this message gently with you. Allow it to settle rather than rush. Trust that this turning point is unfolding in ways that support your well-being, your understanding, and your path forward. What comes next does not require force, only awareness, patience, and a calm belief that you are moving in the right direction. As this message continues, allow yourself to remain unhurried. There is no need to rush through these words, because what is meant to reach you will settle naturally when your mind is calm. A true turning point is rarely dramatic on the surface. It often feels like a quiet inner shift, a moment when something inside you finally understands what it no longer needs to carry. This is the kind of change unfolding now, subtle, steady, and deeply personal. You may notice that your thoughts are beginning to slow, or that certain worries no longer feel as heavy as they once did. This is not because your responsibilities have vanished, but because your perspective is changing. Growth begins when awareness replaces resistance. Instead of asking why things happened the way they did, your spirit is learning to ask what those moments were preparing you for. This change in questioning is powerful, because it turns confusion into clarity and pain into wisdom. Gratitude plays a central role in this phase, not as a forced habit, but as a natural response to understanding. When you look back with gentler eyes, you begin to see how even difficult seasons taught you discernment, patience, and strength. Gratitude does not deny hardship, it honors the resilience that carried you through it. By recognizing this resilience, you reconnect with your own inner stability, which has been quietly supporting you all along. This part of the journey is also about growth through release. Growth is not always about adding more effort, more plans, or more expectations. Sometimes growth comes from letting go of old comparisons, outdated goals, or beliefs that once protected you but no longer serve you. You may feel drawn to simplify your life, your thoughts, or your priorities. This is not loss. It is alignment. What remains after release is what truly belongs to you. Positive opportunities often reveal themselves when you stop forcing outcomes and start observing patterns. You may notice repeated ideas returning to your mind, gentle urges to learn something new, or a desire to reconnect with a forgotten interest. These are not distractions. They are signals pointing toward areas where your energy flows naturally. When you follow what feels steady rather than urgent, opportunities unfold with less resistance and more clarity. At this turning point, patience becomes a form of wisdom. You are learning that not everything needs an immediate answer. Some things need space to develop. Trust grows when you allow timing to work with you rather than against you. By staying present and attentive, you begin to recognize when to act and when to wait. This balance protects your peace and strengthens your decisions. This phase also invites deeper self-trust. You have already learned more than you realize. Your experiences have sharpened your intuition, even if you sometimes doubt it. Today's message reminds you that inner guidance becomes clearer when your mind is calm. Instead of seeking constant reassurance from the outside, you are being encouraged to listen inwardly, where clarity speaks quietly but consistently. You may find that relationships, work, or daily routines begin to feel different, not because they have changed overnight, but because your awareness has shifted. When you approach situations with openness instead of expectation, you respond rather than react. This response creates space for understanding, cooperation, and healthier boundaries. Growth here is not about perfection, it is about conscious participation in your own life. This turning point is also about redefining success. Success is not only measured by outcomes, but by alignment, how closely your actions reflect your values. When gratitude guides your choices and growth shapes your mindset, success becomes sustainable. You stop chasing approval and start building stability. This inner stability is what allows positive opportunities to stay, not just appear briefly. As you continue forward, remember that clarity unfolds gradually. You are not meant to see the entire path at once. Each step becomes visible when you are ready to take it. Trusting this process reduces anxiety and strengthens confidence. You begin to move with intention rather than urgency, which allows your decisions to be grounded and thoughtful. Carry this message with you gently. Let it influence how you speak to yourself, how you make choices, and how you respond to uncertainty. A turning point does not require loud declarations, it only requires awareness and willingness. By staying open to gratitude, you honor your past. By embracing growth, you support your present. By recognizing positive opportunities, you shape a future rooted in calm, clarity, and steady progress. This is not the end of the message, but a continuation of understanding. What unfolds next will build upon this foundation of patience, trust, and inner strength. Remain open, remain grounded, and allow each moment to guide you forward with quiet confidence. As this message moves deeper, allow your mind to settle even more. You are now entering the part of the journey where understanding matures into practice. Awareness alone brings comfort, but when awareness begins to guide your daily choices, true transformation takes place. This turning point is not only something you feel inside, it is something that slowly reshapes how you live, how you respond, and how you see yourself within the world around you. You may begin to notice that situations which once triggered anxiety or impatience no longer have the same control over you. This is not because life has become easier, but because you have become steadier. Growth often shows itself quietly through emotional balance. When you can pause instead of reacting, when you can reflect instead of rushing, you are witnessing your own inner evolution. This steadiness is one of the clearest signs that you are aligned with a healthier path. Gratitude continues to deepen at this stage, becoming less about specific events and more about perspective. You start to appreciate timing, even when it differs from your expectations. You begin to see value in lessons that once felt unfair. Gratitude here is not passive, it actively reshapes how your mind interprets experiences. Instead of viewing challenges as interruptions, you start seeing them as refinements, moments that shape wisdom, patience, and discernment. This part of the message invites you to examine where you invest your energy. Energy is precious, and growth requires intentional direction. You may feel a natural pull to step away from environments, conversations, or habits that drain you. This is not avoidance, it is clarity. When you respect your own limits, you create space for renewal. That space allows positive opportunities to emerge without force. Opportunities do not always arrive as dramatic changes. Often they appear as small, consistent openings, an idea that keeps returning, a conversation that sparks curiosity, or a skill you feel drawn to develop. These are invitations, not demands. When you approach them with patience and openness, they unfold naturally. This is how sustainable progress is built, through steady alignment rather than sudden pressure. At this turning point, trust becomes an essential companion. Trust does not mean certainty, it means confidence in your ability to adapt. You are learning that even if outcomes remain unclear, your capacity to navigate them is strong. This realization reduces fear and increases resilience. Trust allows you to move forward without needing constant reassurance, because you recognize your own growth through experience. This phase also emphasizes responsibility without self-criticism. You are becoming more aware of your role in shaping outcomes, but without blaming yourself for past limitations. Responsibility here is empowering. It reminds you that each choice, no matter how small, contributes to the direction you are heading. When choices are guided by clarity rather than pressure, they become supportive rather than exhausting. You may also notice changes in how you relate to others. Communication becomes more thoughtful. Boundaries become clearer. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself excessively or prove your worth. This calm confidence is not arrogance. It is self-respect. Growth refines relationships by encouraging mutual understanding rather than emotional dependency. This turning point encourages reflection on long-term direction. Instead of focusing only on immediate results, you start considering sustainability. What supports your well-being over time? What aligns with your values? These questions guide you toward choices that feel grounded and meaningful. When direction is rooted in values, progress feels stable rather than fragile. As clarity increases, you may experience moments of quiet confidence. These moments are important. They signal that you are learning to trust your internal compass. Even when doubts arise, as they naturally will, you now have the tools to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This ability to pause and reflect is one of the strongest outcomes of growth. Carry this part of the message with patience. There is no requirement to rush forward or force change. Growth unfolds through consistency, awareness, and compassion toward yourself. Each step you take with intention reinforces stability. Each moment of gratitude strengthens perspective. Each opportunity recognized with clarity shapes a future that feels balanced and sustainable. This turning point is not a single event, it is a process. You are learning to move through life with steadiness rather than urgency, with understanding rather than assumption. Let this awareness guide your actions gently. What follows? Next will build upon this foundation of trust, clarity, and thoughtful growth, continuing the journey in a way that feels aligned and grounded. Now you are entering the closing movement of this message, where everything that has been gently unfolding begins to settle into deep understanding. This is not an ending filled with urgency or pressure. It is a calm completion, like the final note of music that lingers softly in the air and stays with you long after the sound fades. What you have been absorbing is meant to remain with you, shaping your thoughts, your choices, and the way you meet each new day. At this stage, the message asks you to recognize how far you have already come. Growth is often invisible while it is happening, but now you are in a position to notice the subtle shifts within yourself. You may find that your thoughts are quieter, more ordered, less reactive. You may realize that situations which once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. This is not coincidence. It is the result of patience, reflection, and steady inner work. This turning point teaches you that peace is not something you wait for, it is something you practice. Each time you choose calm over chaos, understanding over judgment, and patience over haste, you reinforce that peace. Over time, these choices build a stable inner environment where clarity can thrive. From this space, decisions become easier, because they are no longer driven by fear or confusion. Gratitude continues to play a central role here, but now it evolves into acceptance. You learn to appreciate life not only when it meets your expectations, but also when it challenges them. Acceptance does not mean giving up or settling. It means understanding that every experience carries information, and every moment contributes to growth in ways that are not always immediately visible. In this final phase, you may feel a stronger sense of alignment between your inner values and your outward actions. You begin to notice when something does not resonate with you, and instead of forcing yourself to adapt, you allow yourself to step back. This discernment is a sign of maturity. It reflects respect for your own well-being and an understanding that not everything requires your involvement or energy. Positive opportunities now appear more clearly because your awareness is sharper. You are no longer distracted by unnecessary noise or unrealistic expectations. You can recognize what supports your growth and what does not. Opportunities aligned with you will feel steady and encouraging, not rushed or demanding. They will invite participation rather than pressure compliance. This part of the message also emphasizes balance. Growth is not about constant effort or endless self-improvement. It is about rhythm. Rest and reflection are just as important as action. When you honor this balance, you prevent burnout and create space for creativity, insight, and genuine progress. Balance allows growth to be sustainable rather than exhausting. Trust deepens here as well. You learn to trust your ability to handle uncertainty, knowing that clarity often arrives step by step rather than all at once. You no longer need to have every answer immediately. Confidence grows from the understanding that you can respond wisely when the moment arrives. This trust reduces anxiety and replaces it with steady confidence. As this message comes together, remember that turning points are not always dramatic. Sometimes they are quiet decisions made consistently over time. Choosing to pause before reacting. Choosing to listen before speaking. Choosing to care for your mental and emotional well-being. These choices may seem small, but together they shape a life that feels grounded and intentional. Let this final part remind you that growth is not linear. There will be moments of clarity and moments of doubt, times of confidence and times of reflection. All of these are part of the journey. What matters is your willingness to stay open, patient, and kind to yourself as you move forward. Carry this message with you gently. Allow it to influence your perspective without overwhelming your thoughts. You are not required to change everything at once. Even small shifts, practiced consistently, create meaningful transformation over time. This is how lasting growth happens, quietly, steadily, and with purpose. As you step forward from this point, do so with calm assurance. You are not behind. You are not rushing. You are exactly where growth can continue naturally. Let gratitude guide your awareness, let clarity shape your choices, and let patience support every step ahead. If this message resonated with you, take a moment at the end to support its journey. Like this video if it brought you clarity, share it with someone who may need calm guidance today, leave a thoughtful comment about what stood out to you, and subscribe to stay connected with messages that encourage peace, growth, and positive direction.